Rochelle, all any of us is going to remember about the 2015 Frankfurt car show is the way the chief executive of BMW collapsed on stage. Was this an apt metaphor for the state of the European car makers?
Arguably it was in some ways. Mr. Kruger's brave face to go on stage in spite of being a little bit worn out and plowing through is really an apt metaphor. The car makers came there in the shadow of recent drops in sales in China, which has been their growth market, their profit market for the last few years, and things have started to slow. We've had 3 months of slowing sales figures, but they've kept their guidance. Everything is good, it's a little hiccup, and we're all going to be okay.
So how is this possible? We have a dramatic slowdown in the most important growth market, and everybody is holding their profit targets. How is that possible?
Well, for the European makers, the sales in China have double-digit profit margins, compared to sort of 2 to 3% for their mass market sales in Europe. So this is a hugely profitable market for them. So it does really hit their profit and their bottom line. However, this year we've also seen a huge devaluation of the euro and a surprising recovery in Western European car market sales. So the two are sort of, we assume, although there's no direct disclosure of profit margins, we assume they're balancing each other out. And so that's why they can keep this guidance and they're sticking with it.
I'm surprised to hear that Europe has done so well. Can that continue?
It's unlikely. Europe is really under a lot of pressure with the 2020 carbon dioxide regulation that's coming in. There's a limit that basically all their European car makers' mix of the cars they sell here have to produce on average at or less than 95 grams per kilometer. And for relevance right now they're at about 126 with newer, lighter cars, all sorts of innovations. They've spent billions and billions, 40 billion euros last year between them trying to figure this out.
So they're not getting there. They're not getting to target.
Well, they aren't. Their mix isn't what they're selling, but what was on show at Frankfurt was all these electronic vehicles, plug-in hybrid vehicles that do meet those.
Yeah, but who's going to buy them when gas is cheap?
Nobody's going to buy them when gas is cheap, and also the charging infrastructure isn't there. So in order to make that happen and the mix to happen, they need to have the government help them out.
So we have a home market that's under pressure. We have the key growth market that's under pressure, yet we have our growth targets still in place. Can the center hold here?
It's an interesting question to see how long it can. The third quarter results that are going to come out in November will be interesting to see if we start to hit where the profit decline starts to outweigh the foreign exchange tailwinds. Or definitely by next year there'll be some interesting guidance and results.
Thanks, Rochelle.